Okay, there you go. Okay, so here's what I'm seeing in a lot of people. You got. Life very rarely plays connect the dots. When you're graphing something, if you are drawing a line, you should try and draw, you're not trying to draw the line of best fit, because that implies that it's a line, it's linear. Right? So I don't want you trying to like sit here and like, oh, I'm going to draw like that. You know, I know you could put the line of best fit to it, but it's not linear. So what you want to do is, if you're doing a line for something, you're not connecting the dots, you're trying to
trend line?
Yeah, you're looking for a trend line, a curve. Not a stick straight connect the dots with little pencils line. Right? So the only time you don't do that is when I'm telling you that the point of this is this should be linear, and you need to figure out what the line of best fit is so that we can use something. There's something we'll do with diffusion, with cell transport, where the whole point of it is to come up with what the line of best fit is, because that's the answer. But beyond that one, pretty much nothing that happens in life is a straight line. It already had a title. I didn't see a lot of units. Saw lots of numbers, didn't see lots of units. So make sure you get in the habit of putting the units on the axes of your graphs. So far I've mentioned that I wanted you to do, right? You want to do trend lines, not connect the dots. You want to stretch the graph out as much as you can. You do not want to just use whatever scale you started with. And then here's those two words that I was using. Extrapolate and interpolate. Both of them imply that you are reading information into a graph that isn't really there. It's not a bad thing. So this would be extrapolating. Predicting that if it keeps going the way it's going, this is where it would have extended. Right. Basically, extrapolate means beyond the data. Like, what would this be doing if you could have predicted out beyond where we collected any data at 5 and 6 and 7 rounds? You could probably get an estimate as to what the populations would be. That's extrapolate. Interpolate means it wouldn't make much sense for this graph, but what would the population be at 1 minute and 30 seconds? 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
So it's like statistics?
No, it's estimating between the data points. So interpolate is, now on this one it wouldn't make much sense because these were rounds of reproduction. But if this had actually, if I had done this in seconds and you had 60 seconds to get them and then 120 seconds off and then 60 seconds to get them, and like, if this was actually a continuous record of time, but you only took measurements every 3 minutes, then if you are trying to predict where it is in between the data points that you collected, that's going to be interpolate. You will almost always have to do one or both of these because you can't collect an infinite amount of data. You can't collect data every, 4.2 nanoseconds. That's a lot of data points. And you can't collect data for 3 years because that's just going to take too long. So you have to take it for the time you've got at a frequency that you can handle and then guess the rest. Right? Assuming that the trend line is accurate, right, then you should be able to make an estimate of every other value on the x-axis, even if you didn't take a measurement there. So that's those two. I think that's all I saw. So don't feel the need to connect every graph to 0. Don't even feel the need to begin your graphs at 0, 0. Not necessary. As long as your graph has, equal units, it's perfectly fine if you had a graph where we didn't begin recording data until round 7. You don't need to have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of total blank. What's the point? Right? I mean, if I'm graphing your weight, I do not begin the graph at 0. You never weighed 0. You were never you when you were 0 grams. It wasn't any you. So, don't start your axes until you actually have data. It's okay. Just as long as it's linear. Right? You can't put 0 and then 5, 6, 7, because now that's not linear because that distance is 5 and an equivalent distance there is 1. So just get away from putting 0, 0 at the origin down there. Because life doesn't usually like zeros. Okay. How many of you have had no difficulties logging into Schoology? In terms of, you can do it. Sometimes you type stuff wrong, but, okay. Right now, I want anyone who has not been able to get into Schoology to go over to one of the computers and try and log in. The rest of you guys are going to come over here and have an iPad. So I want people who can get into Schoology to grab an iPad, and you are not going to log into Schoology. You're going to use it for getting into something else.
If I use a computer,
We're not going on.
Yeah, you were dying.
It got you right in, didn't it?
Exactly. It's so weird.
I was having grades one. I didn't take my medicine because I was in my sorry. after she called out the
I don't know how to do it. I don't know. So,